Hello and welcome to Bubble Agency's Video Insight series into the 2025 NAB show. I'm Kim Willsher, Head of Americas at Bubble Agency, and my guest today is Michael Depp, Editor of TVNewsCheck and Chief Content Officer of its parent company, NewsCheck Media. TVNewsCheck, for those who don't know, is a leading industry publication covering the business of television. Welcome, Michael, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So my first question for you is, how many NABs have you been to?
I think I have been to around 10, but to be honest, I've lost track. Enough of them that I can't remember quite how many.
Yes, I think I've lost track as well. And so, what challenges and opportunities do you foresee for companies attending NAB 2025?
Well, this is a very high stakes year for the television industry. You have incredible downward economic pressure on almost every media company, certainly in the United States. And at the same time, they are in the midst of a dramatic technological overhaul to their infrastructure. And so that costs money, and they need to find efficiencies in the process of transitioning to that new infrastructure, as well as to get the most money out of what they make and distribute. That is the bottom line concern for any media company right now, is getting the ROI based on the content that they're producing. And so any means for them to do that is extremely important, is the highest order of priority that they have. And they also need to think about and inform themselves much more urgently about developments in AI, because AI has gone from a sort of curiosity and a bit of a peripheral concern to something that is foregrounded, can be an essential tool towards that efficiency, and may just in the next couple of years become a primary driver of content creation. And so companies need to reconcile with that, perhaps that eventuality and its implications for their businesses.
Great. And what are the top trends you anticipate at NAB 2025?
Well, always for the last number of years, the show, it's the ongoing transition to the cloud and IP in broadcast infrastructure. That is a transition by degrees, and it is ongoing, it's incremental, and with each show, it's sort of a sizing up of where companies, how far along they've taken it into their production processes and how far it's capable of going. And so people look to see the improvements in the technology there. They look to see the costs coming down, especially with cloud. And it's about really that the hybridity, this sort of infinite hybridity that we exist in with regards to that transition. And again, AI has become such a major part of the narrative of the show and of the industry. And so people really need to get serious about understanding what its capabilities are, how it integrates into every facet of the technology that they are using, and how it might be involved in every step, really from pre to post production in content creation. And so getting a fix on that and getting a narrative around where we are with that, and given that it's a space in technology that is so rapidly evolving, is a key important thing. One last thing I would just say are that content creators have become increasingly acknowledged as a very key part of this entire ecosystem. They have done an end run around all traditional production and found audiences despite not having the armature of television to help find that. Nevertheless, with their video content, they have amassed audiences of millions. And the television industry is reconciling to that reality and now trying to see increasingly how it might work with and absorb some of that talent into its own ecosystem, so that you kind of close the circle with content creators and have a bit more of a symbiotic and hopefully mutually productive relationship between those two camps.
Great. Thanks for that. And obviously, there's a lot of companies trying to make noise at NAB. What do you think is the best way for exhibitors to stand out?
I think if they have a message of efficiency right at the top, if they explain how they are going to save their clients money, how in any way, or that they can help them to monetize better what they are doing and making, that is the key, most important prerogative that any CTO walking the floor is thinking about. How can I save money? how can this technology help me make money? And if that's part of the narrative, that is key to getting their attention.
Absolutely. Yeah, agree with that. And I know that TV News Check, you host your own conference at NAB. Can you tell us a bit about that?
We do. We have an event now in its third year called Programming Everywhere. And that really is a holistically designed conference that's meant to convene people from across the programming spectrum. So, programming executives from broadcast television, streaming, and cable, pairing them with media buyers who are a crucial part of the ecosystem, with content creators from the social media ecosystem, and AI technologists who are revolutionizing the way that all content is produced and distributed, getting them into a room to have conversations about how we solve for some of the biggest challenges that television has right now, which essentially is a fragmented audience that needs to be reaggregated as best as possible across a very complex multi-platform ecosystem. So how do you reaggregate a strong enough audience there to monetize against? And I think you need to invite to that table all of these disparate players who typically exist in their sort of silos and don't talk to each other. Our conference is about fostering a conversation with all of them together to find solutions, new ways of rewiring deals, distribution deals, new ways of thinking about content production that are necessarily out of the box, because this is a very out of the box situation in which we find ourselves.
Great. Sounds like a must-attend event at the show. So
I
very
hope
cool.
so.
Yeah. And my final question is, what is your number one tip for surviving NAB?
Well, it would be the same tip where the word surviving ever comes into place, which is have a plan. A show like this is very big, it's sprawling, it's overwhelming. And so you want to prepare beforehand and do your homework about what it is you want to see, what your priorities are as an attendee, and look to see how those are being met, whether it's on a conference stage somewhere or a particular kind of vendor or a section of the show. And so you know, have a purpose as you walk around, and don't be sort of overwhelmed by the cacophony that is a show as big as the NAB show. And that said, be open to discovering something that you don't plan for. Keep your eyes out for people you might want to talk to, who you bump into. A lot of what's great about a conference like NAB is the serendipity of a conversation with someone who you meant to catch up with some time ago. And there's plenty of room for that there. But if you have an overall superstructure when you go in, you will have a successful show.
Great tip. Thank you, Michael. And thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. Look forward to seeing you at NAB next month and reading all the great coverage of the show in TV News Check.
Thank you so much.